off, I'm going to start with one of my absolute favourite recipes. It's guacamole bread. It's basically a hybrid between guacamole and cornbread, which are two of the favourite things I've eaten while I've been travelling around as a food writer. When I say it's a hybrid, it's not entirely authentic to either recipe, and I wouldn't dare to call this cornbread because I know that the Southern Americans in my life would absolutely kill me, but we'll let it off because it's absolutely delicious. So if you imagine a beautiful, buttery, moist cornbread with the freshness and the zinginess and all the flavours of guacamole running through it that you can serve to your friends and family for brunch. So ideally, when you're cooking this recipe, you want to do it in an oven-proof skillet, which is what they make real cornbread in. Sadly, I haven't got one at the moment that's right for this, so I'm just using an oven-proof enamel bowl. And the first step is to just grease this baby up with a big knob of butter. So I've got my oven already preheating to 220 degrees centigrade. You put this in there and get the fat really, really hot because that's what's going to give you a lovely crisp crust. So normally cornbread would have a shed load of butter in it, but like I said, this isn't actually cornbread. So I'm going to mix it up a bit, and I've got melted butter and a flavoured herb oil going in there. I'm just going to pop this clove of garlic in there, this big handful of coriander going in there, and then 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, so when you've got about this kind of consistency, like that, a little bit like a salsa verde, then you're ready to go. The recipe normally calls for 1 red onion, but this is a bit of a whopper, so I'm going to chop it in half and just use half of it. What I find really handy when I'm cooking is just keeping a big container. I just use an old yogurt pot on the counter with me so that I can just put my waste in there as I cook rather than having to run back and forth to the bin. It's just a really handy thing to do. With the onion, half of it I'm going to dice up now to stir through the bread mixture, and the other half I'm going to slice finely and put on top because it looks really pretty. And just take 1 large tomato or 3 small ones and chop them up. So you want 2 really lovely ripe avocados. I like the big Hass ones, and you just want to peel them. So to do that, just get a big knife and cut it down the middle, and then take the stone out. With one of them, I'm going to dice it up into cubes to go through the bread, and the other one, like I did for the red tomato, I'm going to just slice it up to go on top. Right, so now we've got all our ingredients prepped. What we're going to do is combine all of the wet ingredients and all of the dry ingredients, and then the wet and the dry ingredients together. So what we've got is 1 egg here that I've beaten lightly, the juice of 1 lime, and I'm going to plop that in there with the egg. And this is the herb oil that we just made. It smells really, really fresh. 100 millilitres of milk, 30 grams of melted butter. And then just combine these all together. And then for the dry ingredients, we've got 120 grams of polenta, a tablespoon of sea salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, a tablespoon of muscovado sugar, and our spices. And we've got smoked paprika, ground cumin, cayenne pepper, and some chili flakes. And just give it a bit of a mix up to incorporate it, and then go in with your wet ingredients. And then give it a good mix up. You're going to have a consistency that's kind of like this, and it really doesn't look that appetizing at this stage, but I promise you, once it's been baked, it will be absolutely fantastic. So you want quite a quite a wet batter with lumps going through it here. Okay, so now just going to get your hot oven tin out of the oven, and then take your mixture and put it straight in to your tin, like that. Doesn't need to be perfect, but we have got standards. And then scatter over some of the red onion. And then take your avocado and just arrange it nicely. You just need to bake it now, so put it in the oven and turn the heat down to 200 to bake it. and then set the timer for 20 minutes. Check it after 20, and it might need an extra 5 minutes, so about 20 to 25 minutes at 200 degrees centigrade. While you're waiting for your bread to bake, just fry a couple of eggs, because these are going to go really nicely with the guacamole bread. Okay, so it's been in the oven for 20 minutes. I'm just going to check it and see how we're getting on. Oh, yeah, that is definitely ready. Oh, lovely. And what you'll find is that this fills your house with a beautiful aromatic smell, so it's just perfect for a lovely Sunday brunch. Just run a palette knife around the outside just to loosen it up from the side of the roasting tin, or the cake tin, or whatever you've baked it in, or the skillet. And then just take a nice big slice like this. Just put a fried egg with it. I like them so they're all crispy around the edges. And the secret to that is getting your fat really hot before you put the egg in there. So just to bring the dish together and add a bit of a chili kick, which is always good in the morning, I'm just going to add some chili sauce, and it's ready to go. Chop into it like that. That's lovely because you've got tangy bread with all the different textures going on in there. So the onion, the tomato, and the creamy avocado with the lovely mellow fried egg and the real kind of chili sauce. It's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us on our first video with a lot on her plate. We're going to be putting up loads more recipes in the coming weeks and months, and hopefully years, so do check back in. And if you like what you saw today, please subscribe to the channel.